Yes, people. Weekly outlook. Week commencing the 23rd of the 2nd. Today is the 22nd, so this is a Sunday. Full G8 currency breakdown, macro, technicals, statistical, news, all the good stuff. All the stuff that's good. Right, without further ado, let's get into the news. So, what I'm looking at this week on my watch list, we've got Aussie inflation month over month. Um, Japan wise, we got retail sales year over year and Takada speaking. Retail sales year over year coming in forecast way below previous. Still in the negative though. US, we got CPI, we got PPI month over month coming in way below forecast, way below previous. Well, the forecast is way below previous. And Canada's GDP month on month is seeming to tick up 10 basis points. That's pretty much what I'm watching this week. Pretty quiet week in the markets, news wise. Not a quiet week, regardless though. First, let's just jump straight in to the US dollar. I remain bullish on the dollar. If I get my notepad up, this will be a lot easier. Um, Geopolitical, that sort of sense. It's very tense at the minute between Iran, and it has really been since January. So we're seeing a lot of safe haven flow supporting the dollar. The short end is starting to stabilize, and institutions are long. If we just take a look at the sentiment, we've got risk sentiment of 52%. What is ANZ saying? ANZ is moderately positive on the dollar coming into next week, and is looking at Euro USD. We are a little bit mixed institutionally. If we look at bullish BNP, they remain bullish on USD forecast of 160 by the end of 2026 and a Bank of Japan hike in April. But obviously, if you take a look at MUFG, we see USD JPY downtrend to extend as shorts unwind, and we see Bank of America. What basically any and most talk here is about USD JPY, but we're not talking about USD JPY specifically, mainly just talking about the dollar here. So I remain bullish on the dollar. Cut that in short. Obviously, we can see Feb isn't normally a great month, but we'll get those sort of end of month flows, and March is normally quite a good month for the dollar. So obviously, Fed watch. We can see that hold on March 18th is the current consensus, and we're slightly more split for the April cuts, and definitely more split for the cuts after that. So in essence, what we're seeing is unclear sort of expectancy of what's actually happening. Recent news, we can kind of see what's going on with the Supreme Court tariff ruling. That's what's going to make it a spicy week coming into next week. Lots of good juicy stuff coming with those 15% tariffs that Donald Trump moved up from 10%. All of this just playing into the dollar. We can see that FOMC was pretty hawkish. NFP was pretty hawkish. I mean CPI was quite dovish, but apart from that, yeah. I mean we can just kind of see that it's clear, but also not clear what's going on. We're playing this tactically, basically. Long term, hard to kind of see a direction here. But yeah, play it week to week and should be all right. Pound. I'm bearish on the pound and have been for a while now, people. CPI and the labour market data came in very dovish, as we can see here. Feb CPI, dovish. Feb labour market, dovish as well. The short ends are falling. We can kind of see inflation's ticking down, but unemployment's ticking up. Which generally not in a great place. We can see bearish in recent news, and on the insights, bearish. Everyone is bearish basically. And Feb is normally a pretty bad month for the pound. So I would probably say this is one of the clearest macro backdrops there has been for a currency in a while. It's just everyone's short. It's basically the pound's in the mud. Euro. Oh, to be fair, we are still dovish on Bank as well, by the way. If we take a look at. No, there's no Bank of England watch, but we can see that hold is next consensus basically. Euro. Euro. I'm neutral to bullish slash bearish. So on the whole, I'm neutral euro. But it's very much cross dependent here, depending on what you're trading against the euro. Institutions we can see are kind of split. You got bearish, bearish, bullish, bullish. Um, I would say I'm probably long euro pound, but I'm probably short euro AUD. So that gives you some nice perspectives there. Just use it as a good way to access other pairs. That have a clearer backdrop, basically. And yields are neutral, as we can see, very much neutral. Um, so yeah, neutral on the euro, not much to talk about there, to be honest. The CAD, I'm neutral to bullish on the CAD. I'm only bullish on the CAD purely to do with oil. I feel like oil could support the CAD coming into next week. We obviously have heightened geopolitical risks with Iran, and so I feel like CAD is pretty supported there. However, I do think it's quite vulnerable with rate differentials. So any pairs that are sort of traded with rate differentials in mind, um, not great for the CAD this week. But yeah, very dependent on the US and how oil performs this week and the next. AUD. Funny enough, we're not doing AUD and NZD this week together because I have two different biases. I'm bullish AUD. RBA rate hike. Expect RBA rate hike expectancy. Still just a lot of talk about hiking. We have strong China. Copper's also supporting the I can never say this. Antipodean currencies. We got inflation data, which was quite important. We can see Jan CPI was actually neutral, but you can see hawkish yield reactions from the Labour data and from the RBAs. So that's that. And institutions are long. Everyone's long. Although Feb is normally not a great month for AUD and AUD USD, I do expect some upside here and have been calling upside for quite a while now. NZD. The RBNZ held rates last meeting, which was a bit of a surprise. We can see it was quite a heavy dovish reaction from that. I believe there was a 30 basis point move on the 2 year initially, and then on the Friday close, there's a 20 basis point move. So there's a little bit of a shake up in the market, NZD wise, and I do believe that we're going to see some bearish price action coming into next week as a result. Equities are ranging. The VIX is above that key 15 handle. So we're volatile to say the least. I think you should probably expect some NZD outflows this week, purely just a bit more into the safe haven flows. JPY, I remain bullish on JPY, however, incredibly cautious. The short end is rising, and a March rate hike probability increased and is increasing. So yeah, we're pretty hawkish. Could there be a March rate cut, rate hike even? Possibly, but you can see institutionally we're sort of mixed, but we're bullish. We remain bullish. Um, although again, seasonality wise, Feb isn't normally that good of a month, but we'll look over that. Inflation is ticking down, and employment is very stagnant. What's mainly driving the JPY right now is the political landscape and the geopolitical landscape, and obviously keep looking at the bonds because the bond market rules all. Last but not all, before we move on to the technicals and what I'm taking next week, CHF, Swiss franc, very much caution the markets in a minute. At the minute, that's always been driving the franc. As long as the sentiment remains on edge, I think we should be seeing some nice flows there, especially if you pair it up with maybe a currency like NZD or the pound. That's what I'm thinking. Right, let's take a look at the technicals, what everyone wants to see. Dollar wise, what I want to see on the dollar. So we can either see a bounce on the 97.6 handle, which could be quite nice, or I could see a bounce off the 97.5 handle. So it could look something like this. But yeah, bullish week, 98.25 seems a nice place to target. Nice zone. Statistically, we'd be under mean reversion here, so any sort of test of mean reversion statistically that's nice to get in from these zones with. Euro, pound USD. I want to re-enter shorts. These are the shorts I took. Well, TP came in on Tuesday, but I was in it from the Monday before. I would like to see some kind of shorting from this zone here. The 1.356 handle seems quite nice. If I just mark it out, that seems like quite a nice handle to take. Whoops. If not, something like this. I mean, some kind of test of this upper band here, because obviously, if we're expecting something like this, test this upper band, bounce off of this handle, and down. Something like that, people. Pound AUD. I like the look of this. This is sort of more of a swing position. But if I jump down onto the 1 hour, move this out of the way. Something like this could be quite nice. Happy for a 1-to-1 there. But again, if we come up into this sort of zone, I'm happy to double risk and do something like that. So yeah, that's what I'm open to. At the minute with pound AUD, we have pound franc. I like the look of the 1.05 handle, but if not, some kind of test on this zone. So I may even do something like this. May do something like this. Get in here. Happy to re-enter here. Do that kind of thing. That's another position I like the look of. Pound very weak. Franc pretty strong. Yeah, that's that. Euro pound. This looks nice. This really does look nice. A bounce here off the 0.725 handle. 0.8725. I apologise. A lot of numbers, but that's a nice position to be taking. And if we're just looking at roughly anything else, I'm mainly going to kind of stay clear of the CAD. I want to try and get anything that isn't particularly reliant on oil. At the minute, it's going to be a volatile week, but we may scale into some sort of pound CAD downside or some NZD CAD downside. But what could be a potential play is AUD NZD. So maybe taking a position from here, bounce off the 1825 handle. Oh, God. That looks quite nice. Something like this. Go for a 1-to-1. Something like that looks nice. But again, I will be up, market open, set my limits, go to sleep. Rest of it's that's what it is. If you want to know what this is, this whole macro web app, it's called Cognito Updates. I'll stick a link in the description with a discount code you can use. It's mine. Use it if you want to use this platform. A little bit of money off. Helps me in the process. I appreciate the support. Drop a comment if you've got any questions. If you like the video. Sub if you're new here. And if you are new here, go and check out my other videos because there's more than just this stuff. There is videos on like how my ideologies and how I sort of live my life, what I get up to, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. 15-minute video, not the longest it's been, but yeah, I appreciate it. Keep it going, people.